Hi guys, this is Dr. Christine, and today I'm coming to give the anxious preoccupied attachment style individual some strategies so that when they're in relationship, they're better able to have more chances of them having a healthy, happy relationship. So I'm going to start with some of the strategies, and because it's very difficult. One of the biggest difficulties that the anxious preoccupied individual have is this thing of anxiety around relationships, right? Because they have this strong desire for intimacy and closeness, but they also struggle with feelings of insecurity and fear of rejection. So what I want to do today is just go ahead and give you guys some strategies that will help you in your relationships, especially your intimate relationships, where you're much more closer to the person than if you were to say a co-worker relationship or a manager boss employee kind of relationship. So or even friendships, but this is going to be really relevant also for any type of relationship, guys, but specifically for the intimate relationships. So the first thing is awareness. It's awareness of your behaviors, your usual recurring behaviors that you really find yourself doing every single time you're in a relationship. What the best way to really become aware of your the patterns of behavior that kind of ruins your relationships or make you so anxious around relationships is to write them down. So whether you're in a relationship now or not, guys, I'm sure you know and you remember some of those behaviors that you found yourself doing all the time in every single intimate relationship. Write those down, because awareness is the first first step to healing, right? So become aware of those, write them down, right? And recognize those behaviors. Look at them, so that, because what happens is that when you write them down and you are aware of it, because a lot of times we just go on automatic and we just do things and we just go over and we don't think about why we got into this mess in the first place, and we go and just repeat the same thing all over again every single time in every single relationship. So the first step for you to actually be able to manage this, guys, is to really become aware of those recurring behaviors that's causing you to really suffer in relationships. So recognize the behavior and be aware of when you are seeking, one of those things that you always do and most anxious people do is be aware of seeking excessive reassurance. It's fine to, it's okay to have, reassurance when you really have a particularly difficult thing that you have to be dealing with, and you need someone to reassure you that everything is going to be okay or whatever it might be. But recognize that if this is one of your patterns, really work on, once you feel yourself start to amp up, because you can feel it in your body before you even think it. It's in your thought, then you start feeling those emotions in your body, right? The first thing that happens is that you come up with a story, you make a story up that tells you something, maybe that you need reassurance for something, like maybe, okay, he's not looking for somebody else, or she's not cheating with somebody else. So you make up these stories depending on your, and these are all from subconscious things that were planted in your mind from previous relationships. And most of it goes as far back as your relationships with your caregivers, right? But it can also start when you're, like teenagers, adulthood and all that. And it can also change. So guys, remember that depending on the relationships that you find yourself in and the traumas that you may have been incurred in those relationships against you, right? That you experience. So remember, guys, just write those things down that you find yourself doing. If you see that you always at the person, your partner, requiring excessive reassurance. Remember, no, it's normal to have some kind of reassurance, but excessive reassurance, or expressing jealousy every time the person does something, or you don't know what they're, you just make up stories. That's the thing about the anxious preoccupied individual. you make up stories around a lot of things without even having any evidence. You might have a little evidence like this, and the person might have come home a little later than normal, and then that's the one evidence you use, and just make up a lot of stories, and it's usually not positive. It's usually quite negative. So make sure that you're aware of those things, guys. And so you're going to do this by really, each time you're in a relationship, or each time these things come up, your thoughts, and you feel this thing coming up, you have to now self-reflect, be able to self-reflect. All right, so take some time and just reflect of some of the past experiences, and how those past experiences, what was it in your past that's causing you to behave like that now in your present? What are those things that's causing you to behave the way you do in your relationships? What are things? Try and pinpoint those and identify those, but it requires that you reflect on things and not just move from one thing without actually attending to what the problem is in that time period. Deal with it, process it, and reflect on it, and decide how you're going to react and what's the best way to respond. Because most times you react, which is automatic. So responding takes time, guys. It takes time and effort and reflective thought to say, okay, why am I doing this? I don't really have any proof of this. So you reflect and you take the time to really just process it before you jump to a conclusion of a story that you just made up without any evidence, okay? And as I mentioned before, one of the biggest problems with someone with the anxious preoccupied, named the anxious preoccupied because the problem is a major anxiety around relationships. It's the driving force behind the anxious preoccupied behavior, anxiety. So what you need to do is learn to manage your anxiety. If you're a Christian, through prayer, right? Ask the Lord, the Holy Spirit, to help you to manage your anxiety through prayer, and depending on Him, ask Him to, help you to really manage your anxiety, to calm you down, okay? The next thing you can do is you can do techniques such as deep breathing, counting backwards, or counting forwards, 1, 2, before you react, because that's what normally you do, right? You react, you don't have any evidence, you just react from the subconscious, recurring way of reacting over the years. So this time you're going to now pause, take a breath, maybe 3 slow breaths, and that does work, guys. You just have to really practice it. It is something that if you don't practice it, it's not going to be the first thing that comes to you when you're in that place of anxiety. So you have to really, all of these things I'm giving you, you have to practice them. It is something that you have to do over every single time, not just one time and expect that the next time you're going to automatically do. Remember, habits take a long time to form. Actually, they say habits take about 3 weeks, a month, that kind of thing. So therefore, it takes a little while. And this is, you're going to be having these things happening on a recurring basis. So as they occur, you reflect, you write down these things, you pause, you breathe, you do all of these things, guys. It's not a one and done thing. You have to do it every single time to change that pattern, because it's a pattern now that you're changing, the old pattern of the way you reacted automatically, and now changing it to be at a place where you are thinking through this process of, is this really a healthy way to respond to this situation? Think about what you're doing before you do it. I know it takes time, but it's the more you do it, the easier it flows. It flows much easier. It's an automatic response because then you've formed a habit of doing it. All right. Communicating effectively, guys. Communicating effectively. I know one of the problems that my anxious clients have is that they just, as I say, it's a reaction, right? They will just flare up quickly, and because the anxious usually acts from an emotional standpoint, sorry guys, so they're very emotional. Usually the anxious individual is very emotional, so they're reacting quickly without thinking. So therefore you have to learn, as I say again, you have to slow it down from the previous strategy I gave you, right? Good communication is really essential to building trust, guys, and feeling secure in any kind of relationship. So now you have to learn to express your thoughts and feelings clearly, because the thing with the anxious preoccupied too is that they expect their partners to read their minds. It's one of those things that someone with an anxious preoccupied, they believe that if you are with them, you're supposed to know them so well that you're supposed to know, almost like read their mind and know what's wrong with them. If there's something going on with them for you to address, they want you to know what it is that's going on for you to address, when the poor partner has no clue, because the anxious is dealing with some traumas that they're using to paint and using as a lens through which you're seeing their situation. And the other person may not be dealing with those kind of traumas, so they're not seeing it as you're seeing it. So you have to understand that everyone is an individual, you're different, and you're going to see and pick up on things and interpret them differently. So you have to be willing to communicate what's happening with you and not expect someone to automatically, know what's wrong and read your mind. We haven't gotten to that stage yet. I mean, I see a lot of things happening these days, but we haven't gotten to the stage of reading each other's minds yet. I don't know. Maybe I'm back in some other place. But for now, let's just verbalize what is going on in a nice way, calm way, when you're in a calm mood, guys, not when you're anxious and going to fly off the handle and cuss out everybody and, make it worse. So calm down, do your breathing exercises, reflect on what you're doing. Ask yourself, is this really what I'm about to say or do relevant, or is it required for this thing to work? I mean, what are the consequences? If I were to do this or say that, what are the consequences of what I do or say? Because everything we do and say has consequences, right, guys? So are you willing to live with that consequence? Are you willing to live with that kind of consequence? Maybe it's something you do that's going to be really annoying to the person and they will just want to just get out of there and leave, right? Are you willing to live with that consequence? So think about these things before you do it, okay? And be able to communicate your feelings, your thoughts in a calm way by using the other strategies that I told you before. The next thing, guys, is that I know a lot of individuals cannot do this on their own. But some people can do it, but a lot of people cannot do it. A lot of individuals cannot do it. So the best thing is to seek professional help, because what that does for you is, I know working with my clients, they like the accountability and the support that I provide for them while I'm working with them. And I provide a lot of support for my clients. I really do. And you can ask any of them that if you are interested, I can give you their names. I provide a lot of support in and out of our sessions. So what you need to do, guys, is really, really think, am I able to do this? You know yourself. Are you able to do things on your own? Are you self-aware? Because sometimes one of the biggest things I know that is a benefit of seeking a professional is that because the anxious, preoccupied individual, anybody really, you're so immersed in your usual way of thinking and doing things and understanding things that you're doing the same thing over and over again and not responding and not realizing that you're doing this thing. A lot of times I've had to point out to my clients, do you realize that you did that? Or how would that have looked, this thing? So I ask questions to really bring that to them, the awareness of what is going on that they may not have noticed within themselves. And a lot of times they really just, because of the usual way of responding and dealing with stuff, they've gotten used to that and they could not see outside of that to help themselves to move forward. So that is one of the other things I find that what most of my clients say, that, the fact that I can throw another perspective on things, whereas they're used to their own perspective and their own way of dealing with things. So seek professional help. I'm here. Send me an email to my leverageforchange@gmail. It will be underneath in my description below this video, so you can check me out. Just send it there and say that you're interested in coaching in the subject area. And guys, if you're learning something from this, please comment and add whatever it is that you think is also helpful for you, as well as please like and share this video with others that you think might need it. Maybe this is not you, maybe it's somebody that you know that is, is an anxious preoccupied. Share with them, guys. Share this with them, and please like this video. It does help with the YouTube algorithm to spread my video across YouTube for others to see. Okay, the next thing, guys, is to build trust, because that's one of the biggest things with someone who's anxious, right? The anxiety around relationship is because they can't seem to trust anyone. So as soon as somebody's late from this, or they don't call them back, they build up stories. And so you have to learn to build trust, guys. You have to learn to build trust, because it's crucial to any healthy relationship. It's a crucial component, guys. So be honest, transparent. You have to be honest, transparent, and consistent in your interaction with others. Because one of the complaints I get for individuals who is anxious preoccupied, is that they're just erratic and all over the place. And I see that, right? So therefore, you have to be in yourself. You have to be the person that you want that other person to be. Because how can you accuse someone else of something when you are not, the perfect thing that you're looking for? So you have to be honest, transparent, and consistent in your interaction with others, and be willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, guys. Be willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. If you do not have proof, tangible proof of something, don't make up not stories that you made up in your head. You have to, give them the benefit of the doubt. Give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Because you would want someone to give you the benefit of the doubt too. You don't want anyone making up stories about you and just accusing you right off the top of their head without any evidence, right? So you do the same for others as well. The next thing is, guys, be open to change. Be open to change. Life is full of changes. Everything changes. Nothing stays the same. So, relationships are going to change over time. In the beginning, it's all hot, and you're so excited about the person that you're with, and you want to spend as much time with that person. But as time goes on, guys, life happens. You have your jobs. You have to go to your jobs. You can't spend 24/7, just hanging out. The person has jobs. They have responsibilities. I don't know, depending on who you're with. They may have... maybe the person has a child, and they have to spend time with their child, and so they have a job that might be a little taking up a lot of time. You have to really be willing to understand that things are going to change. There might be times even when you're married, you have to move to certain places because one person, maybe that's where the job is, that for that person, and it's going to work out better for the family. So and a lot of times it's mostly about the fact that because the anxious preoccupied needs all this attention. Remember that, guys, you have to find other ways and keep other people in your life, your family, instead of just ditching everybody else, because that's one of the problems with the anxious preoccupied, is that once they are in an intimate relationship, usually everybody else, every other relationship falls to the side, and then they just so focusing on this one person and expect the one person to fulfill all their needs, and it doesn't happen that way, guys. So please remember to keep your other friends around. Go out with them, go visit your family when your spouse is busy. Don't be there tormenting the person, texting them all the time and expecting them to be at the drop of a hat trying to call you back. They could be busy, they could be in a meeting, there are other things, the phone might have died. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Give them the benefit of the doubt, and also be open to change as your relationship progresses. It does not always stay the same. But what happens, guys, if you are really in love with each other, not in lust now, I mean in love, meaning that you accept this person, whatever it is, right? And both of you work through it. You work through it. That as you work through those issues, then you get to be closer and closer and more committed. So it changes over time from this hotty things to a more secure, where you're secure and really secure in each other's love. The other thing, guys, that you have to really be aware of is that when you have to allow your partner space. Because one of the things is that problems with the anxious preoccupied person is that they always want to be with the partner all the time, 24/7. Every waking minute, every time they have a free, you want to be with them. And remember that, as I say, get involved with your own group of friends. Keep your friends. Don't just ditch them. Keep your family members close, right? Keep go visit and have lunch or dinner, or visit your friend. Go with your friend when your husband is busy, and don't just expect that he's the only one who's going to provide entertain you, right? And keep you feeling like how you want to feel, like you're the only person in the world. You're not the only person in the world. And so you have to really be able to allow your partner, because they will have to go and visit their family too, guys, sometimes without you. Maybe they want to hang out with their friends at a football game or whatever. And it's good. You don't have to be everywhere with your partner. It's good because when you come back together, you have different things to share instead of you just being together 24/7 every single time. You have to be able to develop your own personal life, but brought together, not in a bad way, guys. I'm not saying that that person you're gonna live two separate lives. I mean that you have to have balance. You really just have to have balance in a relationship. You can't be so caught up with this one person that they're your entire life when your family is there and your friends are there and you're totally ignoring them. All right. It also gives a person space to breathe, and space to be themselves, and space to really learn different things outside of you, so they can bring it to that relationship with you. All right, so because a lot of people, one of the big with anxious, preoccupied partners, one of the biggest complaints is that they feel smothered. They feel smothered, right? So you have to allow your partner space, guys. And remember, guys, that changing any pattern, any attachment style, anything, change is not easy. But if you're committed to doing the task and taking the time and effort to do it, it will work. It will work, right? But you have to be committed to it. You have to be patient with yourself, and don't be so hard on yourself, and be willing to put in the work to build more secure relationships. So guys, I hope this kind of helps in some way for the anxious, preoccupied individual to have better relationships, and how they need to kind of just work on themselves, work on yourself, guys, to when you're in a relationship, to really be a better partner in that relationship. This is Dr. Christine, your relationship and mindset master doctor, and your leverage for change. Please don't forget to like and comment if this is something that helped you, or comment if you have another way that you feel that would be helpful for the anxious, preoccupied. All right, guys, take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.